Water. Big cup of water.
Eric's thirsty. Water. Yeah. Oh yeah. We need some waters. We need some water. Some water.
What's up, Sherman?
Good, brother. How you doing?
I got a clean look here, Al.
Chilling. How you doing? You're a wild bull.
Can we just grab 4 bottles of water?
I'm not that dude.
I got a clean look here. Oh, I had a clean look.
Of what?
Rick, I see the way you shot it. Do it at the thing.
What are you talking about? I had to get it there. There's no weight on it. There's no weight on it.
What you got in front of you, dog?
I was just making sure.
Garlic knots. Want to try it?
Where are
Garlic knots. They're good.
Knots.
I'll try one.
Huh?
Knots.
That's what I said.
I thought you said.
Oh, you said
Garlic
nuts. I heard you.
The Raptors take care of business against the Miami Heat. 112-104. Welcome to Raptors Tonight. I'm Randy Urban, joined by Sherman Hamilton, Alvin Williams, and Eric Smith. Thank you. Got some water
Handing
now.
out waters, Randy.
Are here. Yeah.
Like Mr. Everything.
All right, we are live at Real Sports Bar. We are live on Raptors YouTube. Please come join us. Send in your questions, send in your comments. We'll try to get to them during the show. Sherm, you good?
Trying to get good.
Hey, what's
Trying to get good.
I'll start with you. Turning point of this game was that third quarter. Went on a big run, the Raptors did. What was key to that run?
Fred VanVleet.
Yeah.
He was really good in that third quarter. I believe he had 13 points, 4 of 8 from the floor, had 4 assists. But to me, we talk about games and being able to finish games and being there at the end. Sometimes the moments, and Alvin would know this, happened earlier in the game.
Right.
And in that third quarter, they came out in the locker room, they were down. And Fred said, we've got to make up the ground now. And that was the difference. They went on that run. Fred led that run. They had a dominant third quarter, which we all know is the difference coming out of the locker room. So I just thought Fred's leadership, his ability to score, set up the team, just run the offense and get the right people involved at the right time. I thought he was great in that third quarter.
Yeah. Al, how'd you see that third quarter run?
I don't know, man.
You weren't there?
Yeah, I wasn't there. No, I'm with
I saw a pass come your way and you didn't catch it.
I had my hand up. I blocked
You
it
didn't
from hitting
catch
my
it.
head, dog. I was trying
I was
not to
worried
be
about you,
concussed.
man. It hasn't been that long.
You know what I mean? But nah, you saw that thing coming from a mile away. But Sherman's right. Like, Fred, the way he approached that second half, the beginning of the second half, and I was worried because he had 3 fouls. And I was like, the one thing he can't get is 4th foul early. Because, Miami Heat, they're known for going to the line, getting fouls and stuff like that. So the way he quarterbacked it, he made plays for himself, he made plays for others, big plays. And those plays in the third quarter kind of set the tone for the rest of that second half.
Yeah.
I'll give you one other guy outside of Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, please, because guys are.
I thought OG.
It's enough.
Like, not just all night, but in that third specifically, and before the game, Al was standing there as well. Nick Nurse said that the way that OG's been playing, he wants to see him even more aggressive. He wants to see him getting to the rim even more. He wants to see him playing north-south and putting that ball on the floor and driving, with that aggressiveness. And he even made a point saying that he thought OG was, at this point last year, playing better than what he has played of late. And I think we'd all say that OG's been pretty darn good of late on both ends of the floor.
Absolutely.
And to me, I don't know if OG hears that stuff an hour before the game, but he certainly came out like possessed tonight and was doing everything on both ends of the floor. And in that third quarter, I think he was as much a spark plug as Freddie was.
Yeah.
OG tonight, to me, and I've seen him play, we've all seen him play, he was moving at a different speed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was moving like north-south with like intent. Normally, get somewhere, back you down.
Right.
He was actually going full speed, dropping off passes.
This is a trend too, like lately.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something, a lot of times the player will mature. They start figuring things out. I think he concentrates so much on defense, the offense is starting to come natural for him.
Yeah, it's so good, Sherm, to have a guy that's putting the pressure on the defense like that, right?
Yeah, and the timing couldn't be better.
Am I supposed to be eating?
Yeah, no, you can eat. You can
the whole
eat.
time?
No, you can do what you want.
Yeah. Sherm's got some
happy to
garlic
have you.
knots for you.
Yeah. You got to try it. They're good. Damn near choked me out my first
I was going to say, get some water. But you got
But, you know, OG is a guy who, when you think about his career to date, he's been injured. You know, he's had some health issues. He just hasn't been able to consistently be on the floor. Now with so many people out of the lineup, to see OG on the floor and carry this thing and be a big part of making this thing go in the right direction, to me, as a person who supports and loves what he does on the floor, it's fulfilling to see him actually be out there. Now, to what he's doing, if we're talking about a guy who's impacting the game on every level, the passing, the shooting, the mid-range, the getting to the basket, the rebounding, the defense, he's impacting the game on every level. And to me, the beautiful part of it is we know how good he is defensively. Now he's stringing together those big offensive performances with consistency. And who knows, when Pascal comes back and Freddie's 100%, his offensive opportunities might look different, but what he's doing right now is really getting a chance to show us what he can do, and it's been impressive.
Hey, Randy, let me ask you this too, and Al, Sherm, you guys could clearly speak to it. I wonder how much the confidence that, Sherm, you were just talking about with OG also stems from, he came out and said it in the recent weeks, right? Like, I want to be recognized as one of the premier defenders in the game. And then when you're talking about yourself and putting yourself out there, does that feed the rest of your game where now it's, hey, you know what? I'm a pretty damn good offensive player too. I can play on both ends of the floor, and you start carrying yourself with more of a swagger when you're out on the floor.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, let's call a spade a spade. His most improved part of everything is his interviews. I mean, it's after the game interviews.
What is in your cup?
Coffee. Water. But no, at the end of the day,
Which one is it?
his interview, coffee, water. But no, at the end of the day, his interviews are much better.
Yeah.
I was nervous as hell to interview this guy early. You set me up. You told me about
Was
it.
that your fault or his fault?
His fault. 100% his fault.
It's not you at all.
I'm with Alvin on
I've
this
never
one.
had an interview in my life. I never did an interview. I couldn't make a mistake.
Well, after you wouldn't hold that microphone for me the first time we worked together, I wasn't going to be doing you any favors.
What Chauncey Billups told me, my role as an analyst was not to hold the boom mic. And once
That is true.
Once they told me that, I said no.
You got to be down for everything.
Yes.
I'm sure
yes.
Part of the whole.
That's my guy.
If
That's
you're
my
the
guy.
analyst,
If you
you're
don't
not
stand,
holding a boom
listen.
mic.
My dad
point.
told me if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. And that I stood on something
you
there.
play team sport. You know about being a team.
Enough.
Okay,
and
sure.
see where it got me. And see where the team
I will
sport
say
got me.
this.
It got me with a hurt knee.
You know what? Unopened Gym will get you to hold the boom mic one of these days.
I've seen Sherm hold the mic many times.
Boom, Mike. You weren't in the
I'm about
2000.
the team. I'm
You
about the
weren't.
team.
You weren't in the 2015 finals holding the boom mic like this.
Yeah, no, but I was.
Nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
MVP.
Wait. Before we go,
Yeah,
just
I'm not
to
going
Eric's
anyway.
point. I wish you would. Just to Eric's point.
Again?
I feel like when OG said, I want to be one of the premier defenders in this league, I'm a big proponent of when you say it, you put it out there,
Yeah.
there's certain things that come back to you, right? And you have to back it up. Every person that he goes up against probably has heard what OG has said about his aspirations. So you think in the NBA they're not trying to show him that he's not the
Great
defensive
point.
player,
Yeah.
that he's not that guy?
Yeah.
So to me, that step in confidence and being able to manifest it and back it up, it's
Yeah.
huge in terms of his growth.
Okay, we got an audience question.
audience question.
Get over here.
I love it.
Get over here.
Wow.
Stand right in the middle here.
Hi, guys.
Here's the
Love it.
mic. This is the microphone.
Hello.
Hello.
Say your name. Introduce yourself.
I'm Katerina Janikos. Obviously, I work here.
Okay.
What do
I
you
have
do?
a question for you. I'm a host.
Nice.
So I have a question for you
Don't
guys.
take my job.
So my question is, what do you think of the Raptors' pace of play tonight?
Pace of play. What do you think of the pace of play?
I thought it was solid. I mean, this is a good transition team, the Raptors, and it's a big part of what they do, but there are other things that they did tonight to kind of neutralize that in terms of second chance points and turnovers and scoring off turnovers. But I was happy with the pace of play. One of the guys who creates pace for this team is Delano Banton, and he went out of this game at some point. So with Fred not being 100%, you know, their lineup being the way it is, I'm okay with that pace as long as that defense and rebounding is there at that high level.
Yeah. You guys okay with that?
I was okay with it overall because I thought they did a decent job of, maybe to Sherm's point a little bit, playing to the personnel they had. So they were kind of in and out of. They're a transition team. They like to get out and run, but they couldn't do it as much tonight. They didn't have maybe as much speed out there. So I think that when they kind of can do it in spurts and kind of give you different looks, that's one of the other things Eric Spoelstra said before the game too. He's like, we need to be ready for the track meet tonight. We need to be ready to get out and run against this team. Well, it didn't necessarily happen. You kind of had to play a different way and kind of morph to what you had. So I'm impressed with the way they were able to kind of tweak it sort of on the fly.
Al, you like the way they've been playing? I'm going to build off this question, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead, of course.
You like the way that they've been playing in terms of pace the last while?
Yeah, I mean, their pace a lot of times dictate their steals, getting out in transition.
Yeah.
But in a game, it's going to change. Like, you're not always going to be able to get from one end to the other end quickly. It depends on shot selection. It depends on a lot of things on the defensive side as well. So it depends, but I like when you're in control of it.
Right.
Sometimes you see Fred come in there and he'll slow it down with his pace, his own pace. So I understand like the up and down and the possessions and everything, and however they equate pace or whatever the case may be. But I always think it's important to have control of the game.
Yeah.
Really master the control and how you want it to go at that particular time. So early on, the Raptors didn't do a good job with their pace. I thought they allowed the Heat to get back on defense and set up. But as they started getting more deflections and flying around a little bit more, they started getting it up. And it's kind of alluded to a little bit before with OG.
Yeah.
Moving at a quicker pace. He was moving faster. But I think overall, they ended up controlling the pace and controlling the physicality of the game.
Katerina took journalism, she told me before.
I did. I went
Nice.
to Ryerson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, I went to Ryerson.
She ain't giving up that mic, Randy. Stop trying to take it.
I went to Ryerson. I
Place you for it.
graduated last year in June, so I'm trying to land a job somewhere.
Nice.
My goal is to be like news anchor, radio
Listen,
host.
you got 3 people right here. I'm not saying any names, Sherm, E, and Al, that can get you a job by not saying no names for Randy. You know what?
4 people.
1, 2, 3. You want to take? I want to say that. You're my friend. Remember, we're friends in Philly.
Can I ask another question if that's okay?
Okay.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah, here we
so I was
go.
watching the whole game, and
Yeah.
I'm very proud that the Raptors won against Miami because I know how well Kyle Lowry plays, how well Tyler Hero plays, and Jimmy Butler. Do you not think they were kind of like scattered a little bit, the Raptors, throughout like maybe the third and fourth quarter? Or you think they had total control of the whole game?
I think the control goes up and down. You're playing against a Miami Heat team, right? A Kyle Lowry that's leading their team. They're not going to lose much control. A Jimmy Butler, who has a lot of poise and he has an understanding and a good coaching staff. So the game is going to go up and down. It's going to have its runs and things like that. I think at the end of the day, the Raptors did the best job of maintaining that. They went on a 20, what was the run? 21 zip.
0, yeah.
21 zip run, ended the quarter 25-9 or something like that. That piece, that dictated where the game was going. So I think it's just one of those cases of the game. The NBA game is always going to have ups and downs.
Yeah.
It's going to look scattered at times. But at the end of the day, who has the personnel that can bring that team back together?
And how did journalism school go?
It went well.
Good. All right. Did you learn anything from this experience?
Oh my God, yes.
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 All right.
A lot of it,
What you
like,
learn?
Yeah.
What you learn?
Sports analytics and how you guys I don't know if it's play-by-play is the right sort of terminology I'm using, but like how to analyze a sports game properly. Because I know sports, but like to know the players, like everything about them and then what they're able to do, what they're capable of, like that's like a whole other level for me. So
Yeah.
this is like a whole different experience. So yeah, this
Awesome.
I love this. This is so
Awesome.
cool.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on the
Thanks for
show.
coming over.
Guys,
Yeah.
Thank you.
You did great. You did great.
Appreciate it.
And you
Matter of
didn't-
fact, give me 2. Give me
and
2.
you didn't swear.
No, I didn't swear. I swear
That was
once.
1. That was 1. What the hell?
Well, that might get you fired from your first job if you do that.
Well, I've learned my lesson, trust me.
Last 2, you got 1, and you'll like it.
Yeah, that's right. You just need one.
Like it.
Sorry, we'll work on that.
Yeah.
We'll work on the 2. 2, 1, 2. We'll work on it.
Okay.
Thank you, Katerina.
Thank you, guys.
You did great.
Thank you.
See you again.
Yeah, your job.
Yeah, you don't even know where to go now. You're looking at your notes. Like, come on, man.
You know what? You should have some more pizza.
I haven't even finished my one
All
yet.
right, well, just, you know.
I'm not like Leo mowing down through the whole show.
It's just me and you tonight.
Oh, no, it's not.
It's just me and you tonight.
It will not be me and you tonight.
I can't hear you, fam.
They held the Raptors
You just
to
said
100.
it's just me and him tonight. I said, hey, no, it's not.
They held the Raptors, or they held the Heat to 104 points. You like their defense tonight, overall?
I mean,
Some water.
from the perspective of turnovers, yes.
Yeah.
The Heat shot 54%. So it wasn't like it was lockdown defense. But again, the turnovers created 20 more field goal opportunities for the Raptors. So you turn them over 23 times, you score 29 points, 16 offensive rebounds, and I believe it's 26 second chance points.
Yeah.
You've kind of mitigated the fact that from a solid defensive principle standpoint, you didn't have your best night. But what do good teams do? They figure out different ways to win, even when they're undermanned. And this was an example of a good team in the Raptors playing a good team in Miami. Both teams a bit depleted with some key guys, but the Raptors found a way to win it even when they didn't have their best defense.
Yeah. Did you like the D on Jimmy?
I mean,
like he
how
was
could you not?
fairly quiet,
Yeah,
right?
he had a real quiet night. Unexpected, like, because he's been a Raptor killer over the course of his career, no matter what jersey he's been wearing. He's been putting up gaudy numbers against Toronto for a long time. I think the last 6-7 ball games against Toronto, averaging almost a triple-double.
And then with about 5 minutes to go in the fourth, it looked like he was going to try to take over there again.
Made a couple of
bucket,
plays on both ends and was starting to get a couple buckets, but then he missed a three, and it just sort of like that was the cap on it. So, like part of the defense, it wasn't just solely him, but the one guy we're 15, 20 minutes into this, we haven't even really shouted him out yet. I thought Thad Young was outstanding tonight. Like, the numbers were pretty good overall, maybe not as gaudy as obviously OG and Fred and whatnot, but key rebounds, key stops, key deflections, key buckets, his presence in the lane, just like I thought he brought an intangible tonight that they needed, especially under man. I thought Thad was awesome. And like, you're handing out game balls, he'd be right up there.
Anybody else for you, not OG and Fred and Thad, that kind of stood out?
Chris Boucher.
Chris Boucher again.
Chris Boucher, and you know it's crazy. Like,
so good lately.
He got finishes at just the right time.
Yeah.
And a lot of it came from a Thaddeus Young who was playing, I call it point forward. Like, you have Thaddeus Young at the high post or on the elbow. He's doing a good job of finding cutters. Like, he can deliver those passes. And now Chris Boucher, he's starting to have that not float to the corner or float out. He's diving, and they're finding him. So those plays were timely. And I thought that was the big thing. And I think the biggest thing is just the overall team effort. You had your star come back, one of your stars come back, and Fred had a big game. OG, emerging star on a consistent level, like one of those guys. Those guys did their thing. Thaddeus, is to E's point, played a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
And then everyone else just fit in and did their thing. The Jimmy Butler thing, I think not so much the defense. I think Jimmy Butler was more on chill mode a lot. Like, he's been letting the game come to him later in his career, and then he explodes at time.
Right.
And during that press conference with Spoelstra, he was like, I'm hoping Jimmy has a big game. Like, kind of like, I hope he has it in him. He was saying, it was
Urging
a little
on
more.
a little bit.
It was a little more than what he was saying. Like, I looked a little under what he was saying. Like, we need him to just like ball out.
Right.
But but once again, kind of like the Kobe Bryant thing. You try to take time to figure out your defense. And I think the Raptors posed that problem a lot of times. How can I figure this out to be effective? Second half, you saw it, fourth quarter. But I think at the end of the day, Jimmy was more on chill mode.
Yeah.
A little longer than he needed to be.
I would say this, Jimmy wants to be healthy for the playoffs. He knows that he carries a lot of load for that team in the playoffs. He's not going to give you everything every night. I don't think he is.
But you know what's crazy? The problem is with that, if they need him now, they might not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? So it's one of those things, might not. I mean, hey.
They're under 500 right now.
I think the whole East is one, knock on wood.
There's one or two teams, and then there's like 8.
But no, I think all of it, but it's 1 or 2 injuries away. Each team, if Boston gets a major injury, any of those teams, you can find one of these other teams right up in there. Washington is what, 5th?
Yeah.
The Wizards are 5th. It's early, but it's just like, I think it's still one of those things.
This is going to be the nature of the East. They're going to beat each other up. It's not going to be, I mean, I doubt there's going to be a runaway team like that.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a beat-em-up, physical, regular season.
That's why it's not going to be one of those seasons where Jimmy Butler can take off. Back in the day when I was playing, Shaq could take off because the Lakers are going to run away with it, and then we're going to get to the playoffs, and now like one of those type of things. I don't know if Jimmy can have nights like this and they win games. You know what I mean?
Well, there's a possibility that a team at 500 gets into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Under 500 gets into the playoffs.
Strong possibility.
So what I'm saying is they're not going to fall that far, I feel. They're going to be in the mix.
Hold on, what you say?
They're not going to fall that far. They're still going to be
What you say? I think they're not going to fall that far, I think.
Yeah.
Which one is it? You think or they not? Talk
What do
to
you
me.
mean? What do you mean?
You
The
think
games
they're not
haven't
gonna
been played.
talk to me,
I can
Sherman?
only prognosticate about what I feel is
That's a
going to
big
happen.
word. That's a big
I
word.
knew I'd throw you off this late at
You
night.
didn't throw
with a
me
big
off,
word.
but that's a big word.
knew
But
I
we knew.
would.
I mean, we sitting here with food. You use to prognosticate and all that.
Wow.
Do you think they're going to win or
Okay,
they not?
how many syllables can I use?
Don't
How
do
many
that to
letters
me.
in a word
Don't
can I
do
use
that. Do you-
at this time?
Prognostic.
Do you think? Do you think?
Yeah.
Or
That's
you
what my
don't?
statement was.
Which one is it?
I told you what I thought.
No, they're not going to lose. I think.
I
They're
said,
not. Or
I
you
don't think they're going to lose to fall out of the playoffs. You just asked me
Randy,
what
get
I-
control of this,
you just
man.
asked me what I thought.
Why would I
I
control
just told
this?
you what I
I mean, don't
thought.
say what you
They're
thought.
arguing
Don't say what
English,
you
not
thought. Don't say
basketball.
what you think. Don't say what you thought. Don't say what you think.
What?
I mean, it makes.
What is in your cup for the second time?
That's the second prognosticated.
Water
No, you
coffee.
can't
what
handle
you do.
prognosticating
Okay.
in your cup.
We do have a live or a question from someone watching here live, Sean Savage, and it goes back to what you were just talking about, the injuries. Anybody can jump in here. Are these injuries early in the season a benefit for late in the season to get the bench more reps
No.
on the floor in real game
No.
situations?
Injuries
No.
are never a good thing. I don't care if they're early. I don't care if they're late. I don't care if they're mid-season. They're never good. I understand where. What's the first name again? I only heard Savage. It's a great
Sean
handle.
Savage. Sean
Savage.
It's a good
Great
question,
handle, by the
actually.
way. Great name. I don't think injuries are ever good, period, because I understand the concept of getting, bench guys some minutes and everything else.
You don't
but-
think or you don't know?
That's what I'm saying.
Or did you thought?
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, let me
thinking
let me
this?
prognosticate for a second.
Yeah.
I thought
Did you
it.
already think of it?
Sorry, you break it down. Break it down. These guys.
I'm with you though.
To I think to Al's point, going back to the last one, putting aside thinking and prognosticating, if you don't take care of these games in November, December, you might not be around in late March, early April. You might not be in a position. So you can't control it. A guy gets hurt, but that doesn't make it a good thing just because, somebody's hurt. Now we get to see what this guy at the end of the bench can do. No, you would rather be healthy right now, and you'd rather be healthy next week and next month and into the new year and so on. So the injuries are never a good thing.
You guys
Never.
agree with that?
No, when you're technically talking about injuries, but you can always get a learning experience
Yes.
from
Silver
injury, depending
lining.
on what. Yeah, you can.
But you could get those, couldn't you, if a guy's in foul trouble? So then you're forced to go.
because injuries are longer. Like you're missing
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 games. The makeup of the team changes. So,
Guys
What
get
if
a
the
rhythm.
dude? But what if the dude you go to isn't playing well? Period. And
but
then
that's something
Doesn't
the
matter.
coach
They're going to
knows.
go back to the next game, whereas you're going to have another game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to get those minutes in
Right.
crucial time. So
Yeah, like, and it helps the coach figure those things out as well. Like, and the crazy thing is, a lot of things that happen in the regular season, I think we know now, the more experience that we have, regular season and postseason totally different. Those same guys that was playing in the regular season, they're not going to play in the postseason. Now, if you need them because of foul trouble or something like that, suspension, whatever, and they can step in for a game, then that's always good. And from an injury standpoint, if the lineup has to shift, you can get a silver lining like that. You can figure some things out. But it's not good, to your point as well, because injuries and luck are two big things that you need in order to be successful in the postseason. You need to be healthy, and you need to have some luck on your side.
It's getting a little ridiculous, though, right? Fred comes back, and then Banton leaves with an ankle injury. I saw Kem go to the locker room in that third or fourth quarter. Like, this is abnormal in an NBA season, is it not?
I mean, I don't know if it's abnormal. It's unfortunate. I mean, the timing couldn't be worse. You know, you get one guy back and another guy goes down. But that's, you can
Sports,
never.
right?
What's that?
That's sports, right?
Yeah, you can never predict when these things are going to happen. So you kind of roll with the punches. And one thing about Nick Nurse is He's really, really good at just rolling with the punches, figuring it out, junking it up when he has to, trying different combinations that we look at and we're like, well, those pieces don't fit. Well, he's never going to know unless he puts it on the floor and he tries it. And sometimes, necessity is the mother of invention. So you got to try stuff based on guys not being there, and you find things. You just happen to find stuff that works. And look at Delano Banton. To Eric's point, you don't want guys to be injured. You never want guys to be injured. But the silver lining Alvin's talking about is now we're seeing Delano in extended periods of time and the different ways that he can impact the game. Unfortunately, he got hurt, but we got a good glimpse at what he could do on the floor. That's one positive, if you can call it, out of injuries.
One of the other things, too, quickly, is now, I don't know this for certain, but coming back home after Monday's game in Detroit, it's a short flight. Yeah, it's probably still late, but it's a short flight. No practice Tuesday. Now, would there have been a practice if you were healthy, or is it we got like 5 guys out of the lineup that are either hurt and or sick, we got virus going around the team or whatever, non-COVID, whatever, let's just take the day off. Be ready for Wednesday. No shoot around Wednesday. Just come to the game, be ready. We'll go through a walkthrough before the game Wednesday. Practice tomorrow, getting set for a game that's not till Saturday? Nope. No practice tomorrow. They've already announced no practice tomorrow. Why? I'm going to assume because you only got like 10 healthy bodies. So you're trying to stay healthy right now. So Nick Nurse, he knows what he has. He knows who he can go to. But he doesn't have time to work on stuff. This team hasn't practiced now. By the time they hit the floor on Saturday, they might have had 1 practice in the last 7 days.
Yeah.
Because they're not healthy enough to do so. You're finding things out in game.
But they've also played 7 games in like the last 11 days,
I get that.
which is like crazy, the schedule.
In the course of a season, too, practice is good at certain times. In order for practice to really be productive, everyone has to be dialed in.
Yeah.
And if you have players mentally that's not dialed in, physically that's not dialed in, like we can say we're having practice, or we have practice every day. It doesn't really equate to improving, right? So you got to make sure when I bring my players in for practice, for mandatory practice, they have to be dialed in. And they have to be here. Yeah. So now I give you an option, right? It's optional practice. Come in and get some shots up. We have a big coaching staff where we can go through some plays. We can do some things, get your shots out of the offense, and lift. Yeah. So those things are important as well. But a practice, for anyone that thinks that we go to practice to get better and get sharp, it doesn't happen like that through the course of the season for the most part.
Yeah. Just to, in the interest of honesty and clarity, I want to.
Why are you laughing?
That's honesty.
Remember the story I told you about when I was killing the guys in the park playing basketball in Philly?
And a fight broke out and you ran?
I made a mistake. It was not Philly. I don't know why I thought that.
Because you were trying to suck up to Alvin.
Well, it was because I saw him there. It was in Washington. I was like, I watched it back.
Washington State or Washington, D.C.?
It was in D.C. when the Raps were playing the Wizards and they got swept.
Let me tell you something. 2 different places, big dog.
No, I know.
Different places.
So I just wanted to be clear that that's where I was dominating.
And yeah, because you wasn't dominating Phil, but you made me feel bad because you were like, you remember, right? And I was like, I don't remember. But I wasn't there.
No, but you were there when I saw you in D.C. That's what I'm talking about. It just wasn't Philly.
This story's got a whole lot of holes in it.
It's got a lot of holes.
It's leaking.
All right, like this show.
Best.
All right, things are escalating out here. We should wrap this up. Next game for the Raptors goes Saturday night in Atlanta against the Hawks. Tip-off goes at 6 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. I can't even speak.
I thought I